Well, welcome everybody. Um, it's been 2 weeks. Um, I, uh, I had to undergo a surgical procedure a week ago, um, and I assumed by now I'd be completely fine. um, so much for assumptions. So it didn't go as they planned, and I ended up being hospitalized for a number of days, and I'm out now, and I'm recovering. And so now we're going to get a chance to do Qigong with a diminished amount of Qi. So Qigong is great when we're feeling energetic and healthy. It's wonderful. It's also extremely useful when we're sick or hurt or we're recovering or when we're dying. It's very, very useful. It was very much to me. So I'll just tell you in advance, the class may be a little shorter. I don't know. Let's see how I'm going to do. I think fine. Um, but just sort of take this class with a grain of salt because I'm not running at 100% like I usually am, more like 50. But that's okay, because there are times like this in our lives, and we're diminished. So one thing I would say about that is that how we frame the experience is really important because, I mean, we all know, particularly if we study the Dharma, there's the experience, and that's one thing. And then there's how do I view this? How do I feel about this? What's my attitude about what's happening? And that's completely different. And it's actually our attitude, what the Buddha called our perception. It's our attitude that determines what effect the experience has on us. So, for instance, rather than seeing myself as weak, I could see myself as very relaxed, right? Not that much different, really. Uh, rather than seeing myself or seeing ourselves as being mentally diminished, we might say, well, the mind is more empty. We're not suffering from this monkey mind now because we're too much in pain or we're too worn out or whatever. So that's, I think, probably the one main thing I want to say about this is that just, as practitioners, pay attention to how you're framing your experience. So this experience right now, you could say, well, I practiced Qigong for an hour with this diminished teacher. Or you could say, well, I practiced Qigong with somebody who's in the midst of a challenge, and it was a very deep thing. So even how we frame that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on speaker view. I wanted to see everybody first. Let me change this here. And I'm going to do for you. Please mute yourself if you're not. So I'm going to do for you some of the things that I've been doing in the last week or so that have been really helpful for me, among other things. So I think the techniques I relied on the most were Trembling Mountain and this position. And we're going to go deeply into this position in the sitting practice. It's extremely helpful. So let's just see now how little effort it takes to stand upright. Okay, it's another way of saying let's relax, let go of tension. Just say, I'm standing here and I want to put out the least amount of energy. I want to conserve my energy. I want to put out the least amount of energy that I need to put out to stand here. So when we frame it that way, the breath automatically starts getting deeper. And if our attention is up in the head or upper body, we're tippy, so it takes more of a sense of balance. So if we drop our attention down, just bringing with your mind, just bringing your attention down, that actually makes us more stable, and it's easier to stand up. It takes less energy because our mind is down low in our body. And then the chi cultivation aspect of this is to actually extend the perception down below the body. So we're mixing our consciousness with our physical sensation. And the question is, what would it feel like to have roots that go deep down into the earth? What would that feel like? Not what would it look like or what do I imagine? Not just what would it feel like? What would it feel like to be a tree? Okay. And then when we mix our intention, our consciousness with our physical sensation, we extend our awareness down and deep into the stability of the earth. Now, if you would like, you can sort of propel this with the breath. So maybe with the out breath, you extend down even more, and the roots expand out and down a little bit more with each out breath. And then to complete the cycle, so we would breathe in from above, sort of opening up the top of the head. We breathe in, and then it gets down to the heart. We breathe out, and then it goes down. And then rise up. So we're creating this orbit, what they call the microcosmic orbit. And this extends our awareness not only down, but we're also anchored up, like the branches. You see all these flowering trees now. And so we're suspended. The physical body is just suspended between what the ancients called the heavens, cosmos, and the earth. So there's this downward pull. At the same time, there's this uplift. And then we're just hanging out right in between, right somewhere in the heart or belly. That's just being suspended from above and held up from below. And then if we use our hands, excuse me, and place them there, that further brings our attention into the torso. And then we can just rest in that space that's sort of suspended between the gravity, the pull of the earth, and then the uplift of the in-breath, the pull up and the pull down. Now, the pull down is gravity. The pull up is the tendency of a little acorn to go up. and down. So there's this innate tendency to go straight up. And you may want to tuck the chin a little and just sort of see if you can just hang out just between heaven and earth. And the physical body has a tendency to become diffuse, and we're more attentive to the pull up and the pull down. So now you can feel that. Okay, well, let's go ahead now, break our stance. Let's bow to the directions. So starting with the east. And the south. West. North. Now we're going to repeat that whole sequence just in 3 brief movements. So above, so we're extending and extend the mind beyond the body, extend way, 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 way up. Very good. Okay. And very relaxed. Touch the earth. Okay, and now the final. And so the consciousness has been extended way up and way down. And now it comes, right, it includes that whole column. Particularly in the torso. Okay. Let's just go into Trembling Mountain. Let's be real sensitive to how much do I want to do, how deeply do I want to do this, how vigorously. And if you've got a lot of energy, if your mind's busy, if you've just got a lot of stress or a lot of energy, do it very energetically. If your energy is low, that's fine. And then you just do it more gently. This move will have the tendency, if your energy is somewhat low, to enliven it. And if your energy is somewhat high or hyper, it'll have a tendency to reduce it. Now, this movement is very internal. And by that I mean we're feeling the organs sort of massaging each other. We're feeling the muscles, the joints. This is a very internal kind of thing. If there's a lot of thinking going on, then really get into this. And wear yourself out a little bit. So this is another reframing. So if we, go on a long jog and come back, we can say, oh, well, we're really worn out. Or we can say, okay, I'm really relaxed now. and and now I can go more deeply into the body. And this is also a way to check your chi. Check into what your energy feels like right now. And let's do this a little bit more. And so there are many, many, many different qualities to chi or to feeling. We all know that. And so let's just go a few more seconds here. And again, if this is too short, if you're doing this on your own, maybe you want to do this for 10 or 15 minutes, or maybe this is enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop. And now this is kind of an exaggerated sense of how is my energy right now? What does it feel like? I mean, you can feel the tingling, you can feel the heat. Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Is it jangly? Is it rhythmic? Sort of you're just dropping your attention into the sensations and just saying, now what's going on here? How am I doing right now? Okay. And then next, it's just kind of natural after that to do a more external practice, because as I said, that was very internal. So by that I mean more movement. So let's go into cloud hands, and keeping in mind that this upper hand, this is the middle dantian, lower hand's the lower. And now we're going to move. And then as you're moving, just notice how does the body feel now compared to when you were just standing a minute ago. Is this sort of smoothing out? As the ancients would say that we're expressing here. So we're releasing energy through the hands. And so this may have the effect of calming the body and the mind. I'm teaching Qigong for my body, my mind, and my condition at the moment. But you may want to do this. You may want to do this more vigorously, and that's absolutely fine. You may want to make this really big, like this, or do it more quickly. The main thing is don't get beyond your ability to notice. So wave hands through clouds. So the clouds are consciousness. We're moving through the area around the body. And in Taoism, consciousness is everywhere, internally and externally. So we're sensing consciousness in the world. If you just imagine for a moment all the life forms that are around us, let's just say within a 10-mile radius right now, there's a lot of consciousness. Okay, nice. And let's reduce these. And we'll end up in this Dantian position. And let's go ahead and place the hands directly on the body. And now let's do a little shift in consciousness. Rather than the hands are on the body, the hands are contained in the middle of the body. If we extend our consciousness out to the front, so our hands are actually in the middle. So there's this cloud hands, this consciousness of our front, and then there's a consciousness of the body, and the hands are actually embedded. And this is another way of just sensing the energy in the heart or in the belly. And you can let go of the image if you like, and just sense those places in the torso. Okay, very good, very good. All right, and let's go into backwash, tree and spring. And let the mind go down the spine. And then back up. And this is all internal. Now the hands begin to move. And this is becoming more external. It's extending our sense perception out, and then way out, and then around and down. In breath. Smile a little. Yeah, let's do one more. So we're moving up the spine. When we reach the top of the spine, we continue moving out, up, up, up. Okay, let's pause here. So we're looking up, the hands are pointing up, there's a little stretch. With our mind, we can extend the spine. It's sort of like a ladder. Just extend it. infinitely up. So the spine is connected to all this. Okay, and then as we come down, the eyes come down, and coming down the spine. Okay, and then you can extend it down. In breath up. Okay, just one more.
That's interesting.
Now let's go ahead and bring up our stool. Yeah, let's check out the posture that we're upright, chin is tucked. And now the next phase is to expand outward. So with the in-breath, fill up. The out-breath, just extend. As we release, we can feel the tingling quality of the qi and pay special attention to the back of the body, because we're radiating here. So we're extending our consciousness with the out-breath all around. Now, this is exactly like Russian dolls or nesting dolls. So there's the internal body that's expanding with the in-breath. This physical sitting body here. And then with the out-breath, we're expanding into the area around the body. Now the vertical axis is still here. But it's not the main focus. The focus would be expanding farther and farther. So the physical body and the dantians are in the middle of this expanding sphere. And next is to allow this porous body, or the breath body, what the Buddha called the breath body. So allow it, the whole thing, to breathe. So it's breathing in, it's taking in from all directions, enlivening the torso, and then breathing out into the space around. You may have to just kind of remind yourself that you have a back. You have a back of your head, back of your body. And we're extending it that way too. And by doing that, it places our attention right in the middle of the sphere. This is very useful if you're dealing with pain or discomfort in the body, because this has a way of diffusing the sensations by making the body very, very big and very diffuse. That means all body sensations are somewhat diluted. So the tendency of pain is to pull our attention in, to collapse consciousness, right, and focus just on the pain. It's the opposite of expansion. And when we notice that, we just gently, with each breath, mix the breath and the consciousness with the pain or the sensation, and just expand it. And this expanded sense of body, this would be like the Russian dolls, the bigger ones. This expanded sense of body is always available. And we're not taking ourselves out of the present moment. Our mind is very clear. We know exactly what we're doing. But we're inhabiting a much more vast space. Okay, so that's radiance. That's radiating. And now let's change the focus and move to the body, the physical body. And just like we're doing the backwash, let's do the microcosmic orbit. Use the eyes and breathe up the inside of the spine, top of the head, then down the front, and repeat. You can do this in steps. Move up a little each time. In the out breath, you move up. Or you can sweep and move all the way up with an out breath, and all the way down with an in breath, or the other way. And so now we're focusing now on suffusion, that is the awareness of the chi within the body. We're not expanding beyond the body. That's still there. But our focus is now on the body, particularly the torso. Okay, now let's go ahead and use our hands. You place one hand, doesn't matter which, uh, so that you can feel the breastbone, and then the other hand below the navel. And there's kind of two ways to do this. You can extend the perception directly into the body, so the hands are bringing attention to inside the body, to the heart and the belly. Or you can imagine that the hands are embedded in a body that's a little bigger. Whatever works for you. So any sense is a sense that you're very much in touch with the middle dantian and the lower. Okay, now let's just do a little experiment. Let's move the hands 2-3 inches away from the body and just continue. So now we're aware of inside the body and a little bit, outside too. And so my teacher Tricia, you would say the hands are resting on the surface of a sphere of chi. Okay? So now let's try moving the hands out another 2-3 inches. And we're still aware internally. And our body's much bigger. And you can move them out more if you want. And open the hands. And then you reach the point of being completely open. Now we're extending out very big. We're extending beyond the fingers and the front and back. Okay, so now with the out breath, let's go ahead and sort of collapse, bend forward. In breath, open. Out breath, forward. So we're inhabiting this internal body and then also all directions. Now let's reduce the movements. And now let's do it without the hands. Just let the hands go into a mudra. And just using the breath and the mind. And if you'd like to, if you're feeling a little stiff, you'd like to move a little, totally fine. Okay, and now let's take this consciousness into some movement. And so let's put the hands sort of in cloud hands. Uh, and then we'll just rock. So we'll send out the lower hand and then bring it on top. And then send the lower hand out that way. Bring it on top. Wind up. Send out. So how is this movement affecting your consciousness of the area around you? Okay, very good. Let's reduce. All right, let's just sit for a couple minutes. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and do our closing. So we'll clap our hands once on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And massage the face. And tap the kidneys. And massage the kidneys. All right. So if you'd like to exit the Zoom, that's great. I'm going to stop the recording and put it on gallery view. And if you'd like to share comments or questions, then we'll finish. So whatever you'd like to do, thank you for your practice.